Forgiveness is not forgetting what was done to you. It is remembering without allowing the wound to rule your life. It is choosing peace over the comfort of anger and freedom over the sweetness of revenge. There is a quiet power hidden inside forgiveness, not the power that conquers others, but the one that conquers the self. It does not shout. It does not demand to be seen. It moves like water over stone, shaping us slowly, washing away the hardness that pain can leave behind. When someone hurts us, a part of our heart closes. It feels safer that way. We build small walls around our tenderness, believing they will protect us. But over time, those walls become our prison. The hurt we hold begins to whisper inside us. It colors how we see, how we trust, how we love. Unforgiveness does not punish the one who caused the pain. It punishes the one who carries it. Imagine holding a stone in your hand. It is not heavy at first. You can keep it for a while, maybe even forget it's there. But as the hours pass, your arm begins to ache. The longer you hold it, the heavier it becomes. Anger and resentment are like that stone. The longer you hold on, the more they weigh on your spirit. Forgiveness is the moment you finally let it fall to the ground and realize how light you were meant to be. Many people think forgiveness means saying that what happened was fine. It does not. Forgiveness is not approval. It is not surrender. It is a decision to no longer be defined by what was done to you. You forgive not because the person deserves it, but because your soul does. Some wounds are small, and some are so deep, they seem to change the color of the sky. There are betrayals that leave scars you can still feel in the quiet of the night. To forgive in those moments is not easy. It is not quick. It is not simple. But every time you choose to soften your heart instead of hardening it, you become more human. You reclaim the sacred space within you where love still wants to live. Think of a forest after a fire. The trees are blackened. The ground is ash. For a while, it seems like life has ended there. But if you look closely, small green shoots begin to rise through the charred soil. Forgiveness is like that. New life pushing through the ashes of what was lost. It doesn't erase the fire. It proves that something stronger than destruction still breathes inside creation. We often believe we must wait until the other person apologizes, until they understand what they did, until justice is done. But sometimes, that moment never comes. Sometimes, the people who hurt us don't change. They may never see the harm they caused. And yet, we still have the choice to be free. Forgiveness begins when we stop waiting for the past to fix itself. To forgive is to step out of time. It is to stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and begin asking, "What can I become because it happened?" This shift transforms pain into wisdom, suffering into strength. You no longer look at your scars with shame, but with quiet respect. They are the marks of your becoming. When you forgive, you begin to see the world differently. The faces around you soften. The colors return. The air seems lighter. Because forgiveness is not just a gift to others. It is a medicine for the heart. It clears the vision. It makes space for joy to return. Sometimes, the hardest person to forgive is yourself. We remember the times we failed, the words we should not have said, the choices we wish we could undo. We carry these moments like secret weights, hidden behind smiles. But self-forgiveness is the doorway to peace. You cannot truly love others if you are still at war with yourself. To forgive yourself is to say, I am still learning. It is to look at your mistakes and see not shame, but growth. Every wound you gave yourself was born from confusion, fear, or pain, and you have learned from them all. You are not the person who fell. You are the one who stood up. There is a tenderness in forgiving yourself. It requires humility, the courage to admit your imperfection, and the wisdom to know that imperfection is part of being alive. Even the most sacred lives are shaped by flaws. Forgiveness does not erase your humanity. It completes it. In every human heart, there is a quiet voice that longs to heal. Sometimes we drown it with noise, with anger, with pride, with the endless replaying of what went wrong. But when we sit still, we can hear it whisper, "Let go." It is the voice of mercy, the echo of love, calling us back to wholeness. Forgiveness is not an emotion. It is an act of will. Sometimes you will not feel ready. You will not feel kind. You will not feel peaceful. But you can still decide. You can still say, I will try. And even if the feeling takes time to arrive, the act itself opens the door for grace to enter. The process is rarely neat. Some days, you will feel at peace, and the next, the memory will sting again. That is normal. Healing is not linear. Forgiveness is not a switch to flip, but a path to walk. Every step matters. Every effort counts. Think of a river carving its way through stone. It does not break the rock in one strike. It flows, patiently, persistently, until the hardness gives way. So too with forgiveness. Steady, gentle persistence wears down the bitterness inside us until only clarity remains. There is beauty in this slowness. Forgiveness invites us to live with patience, to trust that time, tenderness, and understanding can transform even the hardest heart. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation. Sometimes love means walking away. You can forgive someone and still choose not to return to the place where you were hurt. Boundaries are not the opposite of forgiveness. They are its companions. Forgiveness frees your spirit. Boundaries protect it. When you forgive, you are not saying, "You are welcome to harm me again." You are saying, "You no longer have the power to define me." That is the quiet revolution of forgiveness. It reclaims your dignity without needing to destroy anyone else's. It takes courage to forgive. It takes strength to open your heart in a world that tells you to protect it at all costs. But this courage is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is the courage of a sunrise after a long night, gentle, unwavering, full of promise. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it changes your relationship to it. It turns pain into memory, and memory into understanding. Over time, you may even find gratitude hidden within your suffering, not for the hurt itself, but for the strength it awakened in you. Sometimes, when we forgive, we never get to say it out loud. The person may be gone, or far away, but forgiveness still happens within. It happens in silence, in solitude, in a small moment when you breathe out and finally stop carrying what no longer belongs to you. Forgiveness is an act of love, not only for others but for yourself, for life itself. When you forgive, you create space for compassion to return. You begin to understand that every person, even the one who hurt you, is also struggling, also broken in ways you cannot see. This does not excuse their actions, but it reminds you that cruelty often grows from pain. And when you choose compassion over condemnation, you become part of the world's healing, not its harm. There is a story that unfolds every day, quietly, in the hearts of people who forgive. A mother forgiving a son who disappointed her. A friend forgiving another who betrayed a trust. A man forgiving himself for years lost to bitterness. These moments do not make the news. They do not trend, but they hold the power to remake the world, one heart at a time. Because every act of forgiveness is an act of faith. Faith that goodness is stronger than evil. Faith that love is stronger than hate. Faith that the human spirit, though fragile, can never be truly broken. When we forgive, we join a great, invisible circle of mercy that surrounds the world. We become participants in something larger than ourselves. A quiet revolution of kindness that begins not in nations or systems, but in the intimate space of the heart. And the miracle of it is this: when you forgive, the healing you offer to another returns to you. The peace you release into the world becomes the peace that fills your own soul. There will always be people who say forgiveness is weakness, but they do not understand its cost. To forgive is not to be naive. It is to look directly at the wound and choose to heal it anyway. It is the strongest act a human being can make, because it is an act of love in a world that often forgets what love truly means. There are moments when forgiveness feels impossible, when anger feels safer, clearer, easier to hold. In those times, do not force yourself. Sit with your pain. Listen to it. Let it speak. Healing begins when you stop running from what hurts. And when the moment is right, when your heart is ready, forgiveness will come naturally, like a tide returning to the shore. Forgiveness and time are friends. One teaches patience. The other teaches perspective. Together, they remind you that everything passes, even sorrow. The storm does not last forever. The rain falls, but then the earth blooms again. Forgiveness allows you to bloom too. It allows you to meet life again with open hands instead of clenched fists. It allows you to love without fear, to give without keeping score, to rest without regret. In forgiveness, you discover something sacred. Peace was never something you had to find. It was something you had to uncover, buried beneath the debris of pain and pride. When the layers fall away, what remains is your true self, kind, gentle, unbroken. And perhaps this is what forgiveness really means: returning to who you are, remembering that love is your nature, compassion, your language, mercy, your strength. So, if there is someone you have not yet forgiven, including yourself, take a quiet breath. You do not have to do it all at once. Begin with the intention. Begin with the willingness to one day be free. Even the smallest seed of forgiveness, planted in a sincere heart, can grow into a forest of peace. Let go of the heavy stone. Watch it fall into the river and sink out of sight. Feel your hand open, your arm lighten, your heart expand. This is what freedom feels like. Forgive not because it erases the past, but because it opens the future. Not because it makes others worthy, but because it makes you whole. And as you walk forward, may you carry this truth gently. Every act of forgiveness adds a little more light to the world. And the light that shines through you, calm, patient, merciful. May guide others toward their own peace. May we learn to forgive as freely as we are loved, completely, without keeping score.